What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the stream. So you got the countdown TikTok. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Welcome back to Thursday evening. Man, this week is flying by, isn't it? Thursday evening here. And yeah, I hope you all had a great Thursday. Tonight's episode, or tonight's live stream, should I say, we're going to be breaking down where are we really. And I think this was kind of just some conscious pricks from last night, where a lot of people were very much bull market, very much in that kind of narrative of going, hey, you know, we're definitely going to the moon. The bomb's already in. What's going on, Grimmer? Etc., etc. And then there's the other side that are like, oh, we're nowhere near the bottom. You know, there's way more to come down. So I don't want to kind of go over all ground from last night, but I thought we'd just explore, you know, what are the signs that we've got good news coming and what are the signs that we've got bad news coming. And just to put my position out there, as many of you already know, I believe this market is going to go down. I believe it's going to give us another opportunity at 60K, potentially even a bit lower, just based on what I'm seeing. And even if you take a look at today, you know, today's trend in the market tells me that tomorrow is most likely going to be a downside move. Now, again, we'll walk through some of that. I actually did short Bitcoin last night from 70,500. Ended up being a pretty nice trade, actually. So out of that trade, I was going to share it in the Discord, but it was one of those where I was like, ah, man, this feels a little bit sketchy. But it did plan out all right. So again, we'll sort of walk through that. We'll get a bit of a macro view, and then I want to touch on a couple of key things. All right, so we'll walk through that. But with that being said, I am just going to move TikTok. You guys need to come here. Because we are going to get into the charts, but I want you guys to see this, and then YouTube. This is the stock market from today. Like, holy crap. $100 billion. I think it was like $1 trillion wiped out of the entire stock market today, which is pretty insane if you ask me. From Apple, Google, Meta, you had things like Oracle, just everyone absolutely dumping, as we said it would happen, on this news in Iran and this kind of nervousness on the Straits of Hormuz. Now, again, I don't want to sort of go back over all ground. We went over that pretty extensively last night. And Sean says, I think we'll see green tomorrow, maybe. I mean, I think if this tension stuff with Iran right now, I'm not sure, but hey, let's see. One of us will be right. But yeah, this kind of idea now that the Straits are not as favorable than I think maybe Trump wanted people to believe, that maybe they're not quite as safe as what has been sort of alleged, which is kind of interesting as well. So this enormous capitulation in the stock market. What's interesting to note here, just off the start, it hasn't really filtered into the price of BTC. This is obviously the daily chart for BTC. And again, you can see down here, we did get a pretty interesting candle. We actually wicked all the way down to around 69,200, and then we wicked as high as around 70,700. If you look at it over the course of a day, however, the wick all came late last night, and it's sort of dumped throughout the day, to be honest. We've seen a little bit of a push back to the upside, but generally speaking, this is playing out as I sort of anticipated it would do. And I think what's interesting here is you have BTC sitting around 70,200. Hasn't really moved much today, given the kind of volatility that's come into it. So we'll talk about what that kind of looks like and feels like. Again, within this structure, you know, it is what it is. I actually did, it was here, and I was looking at this last night. If you want to join me over on Weex.com, by the way, link in the Discord bio, and also I have put it into the chat, so just scroll up the chat and you'll see the link. But you can see the short trade I took here, and again, this was off the back of a big dump here on you know, kind of last Thursday that we kind of walked through and just kind of see it. This is obviously the 5-minute chart here. But yeah, so I did take the opportunity then as that came down from last night. It pumped back up and I dropped it and took a nice little short trade here in the very, very early hours of the morning. It was actually quite a nice trade. So, you know, this sort of structural view right now is very much playing out as I would anticipate. And you can argue that actually the top of this range just from today is kind of sitting obviously with a couple of these patterns. Now you could argue and say, well, hold on a minute, 2-bit cup and handle pattern breakout to the upside. Maybe that's what's playing out right now. Doesn't feel like it if I'm totally dead honest. But that is kind of a line that you're looking at that you say, well, okay, maybe we wick up to it. And we'll take a look at the Asia markets. We'll look at the futures markets because we got a bit more data based on what happened last night, which I think can kind of give us a better idea as to potentially what is going to happen tonight. If you remember last night, Asia was very much a flat to bearish sentiment. Europeans were, marginally down. The US were looking for a bit more of a bullish move. If we break that down over the course of the last 24 hours, just to give us a bit of a view and a bit of a flavor as to what's going on here. So the start of the day being very much around here. So this was the kind of short trade into the bottom here, below the 100-day EMA. Varias, my personal opinion is I think things are setting up for a downtrend tomorrow. Some people believe that, it's going to go up, but we're just walking through that. So you're not missing a lot. I've only gone live about 6 minutes ago. So we're talking about now. So yeah, so we did get the push down off that upper range right now and then down. Look at this. Interesting down here. And we haven't then been to retest this upper range here throughout the entire day. So we wicked up at about 11 o'clock, something like that. So not even market opens. This was just kind of as the day went through, we sort of got this wick to the upside here and just sort of settled. We haven't then sort of got back to it, which tells me that the market's losing a little bit of steam, and therefore I think we could start to push down. Now it's arguably the best structure we've ever seen in terms of lower lows, high highs, etc., and trends that's going on. You could argue, I guess, that actually you've got a little kind of upward trend going in, but when you sort of correlate with what's going on with the stock market, then it kind of doesn't quite seem to add up. But overall, this was the short I took, pretty good short, like you said. And then, in fairness, you could probably long this right now, but definitely trading within a range. And again, like we said, not doing too much when it comes to the overall sentiment when it comes here on the 4-hour chart. Here on the 12-hour chart, you can see there exactly what happened. We got the wick early hours, and we've sort of dumped since. The 50-day EMA being a kind of important measure there. And look, BTC might rally again. If it does, look, this is what we're looking at here, 71,200. If it gets anywhere near there, I would definitely short that. I'm just talking about me personally. If it can get to that level and we see a wick down, then yeah, I'll definitely take a short at that point. I think that could be a good news story. But as it stands at the minute, I'm sort of definitely in this world, specifically on BTC right now, as it still sort of trends well within this range that we have been discussing. So more on that a little bit later on. The 237, what the hell am I talking about? $2.37 trillion global market cap here. Again, look at this, within this range. So we were talking about this yesterday. We did get a little wick above 2.39, but look, straight back down within this range. Again, as you start to look at the structure, this very much feels like this is going to roll over, doesn't it? As it sort of has done many times previously. You sort of see this, move to the upside, pump, pump, pump. We get a wick, which we have. And then obviously then the rotation back down and we sort of come down. So, this could be the start of the push down. There's a lot of stuff going on right now that people are just neglectful of and etc. But, this for me is starting to indicate a couple of important things that we need to look at. BTC dominance starting to rise just a little tad, telling us that people are a little bit more in terms of buying BTC than they are in terms of altcoins, which is fine. And then you aren't really seeing much in terms of stablecoin move around. What is interesting to note here over the course of the last 24 hours is you get a pretty flat movement in altcoins. All right, so that tells us that there isn't new capital coming into the market. Tells us that this is repositioned capital, or increasing or decreasing risk when it comes into there. The fact people are going to BTC probably tells you that they still want exposure to risk, but actually they want exposure to less risk, I think is fair to say. And we'll talk about something that got launched earlier today that is certainly going to support that narrative and hopefully will support a coin like Ethereum, still very much trading within that channel as it did here. And again, playing out pretty much very similar to kind of what we discussed a number of times here on the channel. So I'm not going to go through many of the other altcoins. Arguably, they are just in a world of a little bit of a sell-off today. You got a couple of coins, Jasmy up, Junction bouncing back 2% after a 15% dump yesterday. No surprise. Number of coins we talked about, not really doing much. Watch out, will there be financial? 297 people, again, holders going to Mar-a-Lago, I believe, at the end of this month for a new Trump dinner. So that could be interesting. Last time we got something like that, we did get a little bit of respite on will there be financial, but I wouldn't hold too much hope on that just at the minute. One of the coins I've been talking about for a while now, Morpheo, still looking pretty bullish, by the way. Nice green candle there at nearly 2.77%. Called this 3 days ago, so it's down here somewhere around 180, I think, on the best altcoins to buy now I think is, I can't remember the exact title of it, but anyway, Morpho was one I called. 2.77, looks like it probably breaks $2 pretty soon, which is a nice move here on Morpho. And then you got a couple of others, which is nice coming back. So we see Fetch coming back. Canton had a little bit of a sell-off, which is interesting. Again, back down to this similar trend line. Could probably wick down, could potentially take a buy order on this. But yeah, structurally, it's looking a little bit bearish right now. But again, for me, still giving an opportunity to get in on this. Memes holding up, Brett having a decent move at 5%. Pump, as we talked about, again, broke the trend line. If you remember, we were talking about this 3 days ago, and we said, hey, if Pump breaks out above this trend line, this might get pretty interesting. Yesterday, it didn't. It got rejected on that trend line and then pushed down. Actually retested the 20-day EMA, now has broke back. So we're watching this right now. If the market capitulates, you'd expect Pump to come back. If it can hold in around 2019 with 2 zeros at the front, then this actually might print a nice little potential long trade if you're in this, or equally a position to maybe buy some spot bags. So, you know, as the broader market, in the crypto market, it's just a pretty average Thursday. Nothing really too crazy going on. And it's kind of just sitting where it is. So, you know, that's kind of interesting. Where it gets interesting, right, is where we have to step into the traditional financial world. That's where it's now getting pretty interesting. Now, some people, I'm not saying everybody, but some people would come into the live stream and they go, you have no fucking clue what you're talking about. You absolute noobatron, and you are going to regret ever talking about this. Well, so far we've been pretty much right on gold. If you remember, we talked about this a while back saying, hey, the gold sell-off is coming. Don't FOMO into gold, even though it's pushing to the upside. This is definitely a absolute trap, and it exactly was. You know, we got the push up, didn't quite get to all-time highs, just enough that people were like, oh my God, gold's going to break new all-time high. It's going to go to 6,500, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, doesn't look like it. Broke the 20-day EMA and actually coming down. I'm expecting gold right now, retesting at least 4,900. Probably is going to go even lower, potentially about 4,782, in my opinion, by the way. In my opinion. Yeah, kind of grimmer. I mean, lots of people come in and just voice their opinions, and 9 times out of 10 they are wrong, unfortunately, or they don't have a good enough argument as to why they could be right. So very much seeing a big sell-off on gold. Silver doing exactly as we anticipated. Again, lost the 20-day EMA. People are starting to get nervous, and some people will now say, well, everyone's going to Bitcoin, everyone's taking the, you know, the undervalued asset, which I would, you know, if we'd have gone back, say 6 months ago, maybe even like 4 months ago, I was like, yeah, I would agree with that. For me, that was always going to be the undervalued trade. People would come out of gold, would come out of silver. Once it started to roll over, I thought people would definitely sell their bags, take their profits, go into another risk potential, which would have been, in my view, Bitcoin. Okay, that absolutely would have been that kind of that obvious trade that would have played through. So again, what you've got here though is silver is selling off, copper selling off. We're seeing this absolutely push down in the market exactly as we anticipated, but you're also seeing it losing key support levels. So for me, if silver breaks down below around 81.9, expect this to go way lower. Expect $75 pretty soon, in my opinion, right? In my opinion. So yeah, he was welcome to come to that stream. I did, like I said, we only muted him for yesterday. So 9 times out of 10, they don't turn up the day after. So yeah, copper selling off as well. Now, where it gets even more interesting is the price of oil. So if you're long on oil, shout out to you. You are printing money right now. Oil looking like it's going to continue, and everything that's going on in the Straits of Hormuz is going to tell us that there's, you know, again, I spoke about this yesterday, but Iran are saying $200 a barrel, like they're not interested. And as much as the US can be like, yeah, we'll support, you know, ships going through, they can't. They cannot suffice the demand that is required. So you could end up in a world where oil does eventually spike, and is spiking right now. And this will be self-fulfilling as well, by the way, because soon, once prices start going up, what's going to happen? Everyone's going to freak out. Everyone's going to start filling their cars, filling their bloody spare tanks. You know, I remember back when I was a very, very wee little nipper having to go to the fuel station with my old man at like stupid o'clock in the morning to fill up his moped and his car. Do you know what I mean? That we'll get to that. And then once that happens, it means demand for oil starts to soar. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit more detail later on in the stream. And it then becomes a self-fulfilling because prices go up, the oil drains, and we'll talk about the reserve that Trump announced last night. I just think that I think personally, and I know this is a little bit off topic, but it sets up the conversation as we're going to walk through it. I generally think he's playing chicken with the Iranians, and I think he's going to lose. And I don't mean this from a military perspective. I don't even mean this from a regime change. I don't think he can win the battle with oil. I don't think he can. I just think it's so difficult. And if they were to lay, which they say they have done, mines in the Strait of Hormuz, and you had ships attacked, these could take months and months to remove. And I think a lot of people are neglecting that, which for me then just tells us that that's cascaded down to our potential buy price. And just again, for absolute clarity, just on my bet, when we go back down to 58,000, 60,000, I am buying. I'm longing BTC. I'm in. I will be 90% deployed once we get to 60K and below. You know, that's kind of where I'm at now. So, you know, I'm already 50% in the market. You guys know that. I didn't go fully into stablecoin, but yeah, any sort of touching around 58,000, 59, 60, 61, I'm in. And I think that'll be a good entry point. You know, maybe there's a wick to 56 or whatever, but I'm not bothered, right? I'm not bothered. So again, this is going to be really, really important to keep your eyes out for. And then just look at the stock market. Like the stock market got nuked today. And you go, well, why? Why did the stock market get nuked too? Because everything's going to cost more money. Think about it. If you're a data center right now, and bearing in mind, a lot of these Bitcoin mining farms went over to be data centers. Let's say you're a data center right now, and you are, you know, in a world where it's costing you, I don't know, like let's say 50 million to run your business on electricity. The fact of the matter is, like, the minute oil spikes, you are going to instantly get an impact in terms of how much it costs you to run that place. So pretty wild, if you ask me, and certainly one to keep an eye out for. And as much as people don't want you to know about it, and everyone's like, oh, it's totally fine, it's not fine. It's not fine, okay? New because the DXY climbed all day. Yeah, well, the dollar's going up because, you know, the fact is that people are having to, you know, buy more goods of the US. Actually, US trade routes seem like they're kind of moving up, and there's no cheap oil moving around. Like, you know, this whole idea of, you know, removing the petroleum reserves is an interesting one. Like I said, I just don't feel like Trump can win that battle, and I think he is definitely playing chicken. And you can kind of see it. It's a bit like if you stop an American ship, if you stop this ship, we're going to hit you harder than you've ever been hit. Like, there's loads of rhetoric, I believe, that's been spun in terms of, man, we really don't want to lose the Straits of Hormuz because we are knackered on a global scale. And then obviously at that point, people start to get pretty pissed. So worthwhile thinking about. Okay. Worthwhile, in my opinion. Now, it could be worse, though. Obviously, this is the stock market, but it could be so much worse. How could it be so much worse? Well, this. I know what you're thinking. You're like, why could this be so much worse, Tubit? I am confused. I am confused as to why this is so much worse. Well, someone transferred $50.4 million worth of USDT, and they received $35,000 worth of Aave. I mean, come on. I mean, I'm not being funny here, but whenever I do any transaction, I always like to check. I always like to make sure. You better believe if I'm transferring $50.4 million, I'm going to check that motherfucker, like every letter I'm checking. I'm checking everything about that transaction. But yeah, $50 million to 35,934. I mean, that's going to sting. That's going to sting. The only winner, the Aave protocol. We all know when Trump releases, he's not going to win. He'll start talking about UFOs again. I mean, potentially. You can't threaten to play chicken with a group that doesn't care. Well, exactly, Curtis, as well. I mean, that is the epiphany of not playing with that particular individual. But he said it's almost over. Yeah, it's no way is it nearly over. No way. Also, this is the thing you see, and this is why I think so many people get caught up in like charts, and the chart says this, and you know the bottom's in. People just neglect what's going on. What's going on, helicopter man? People neglect the broader market sentiment. You know, in one sense, you know, not only a week ago when the oil thing was kind of kicking off and everyone was a bit like, oh my God, it's all getting a bit weird. It was like, don't worry about it. It's fine. We're going to keep the Straits of Hormuz open. 20 billion to ensure your trip. No problems. And then it's like, it's nearly over. We're all done. He literally posted a tweet, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on, that said, yeah, we're cool to go for another 4 weeks at least. And you're like, get out, fire. Okay. Madrigal says, did you see turbos pump and volume skyrocket? I saw a tweet about it. I haven't seen what it's doing, but yeah, let's take a look at it in a little bit. Hey, thanks for the follows, everybody that's tuning in on TikTok. Thank you so much. I am here, by the way. What's going on TikTok? We'll just take a look at some bits. So, like I said, it could be way worse if you think about it. Way worse. All right. This could be you. You could have just lost $50 million. It's actually $50.39 million. I mean, holy crap. Imagine that. That would be an absolute disaster. Certainly not anything I would want to do. All right, good. So let's get into a little bit then. Let's understand what is going on, and let's get into the vibe checks. We're not going to go, like I said, we're not repeating what we talked about yesterday. I think it's important. We're just going to walk through what are the charts telling us and what do we think is coming next, because that's the best way about it, okay? We can sort of sit here and jibber jabber about anything we want, but the fact of the matter is that when you look at this chart, and this is the Coinbase premium platform. So basically, what are people trading? And you've got a couple of things to think about on this chart. So you have the middle line, well, you got the price at the top here, okay? It's a BTC price. You then have the aggregated funding rate, open interest. How much do people want to leverage into a particular asset, for example? And then you have the bottom, which is essentially people buying on spot. So what is the demand right now from spot versus leverage? And what are they actually doing? And you can see there in the middle that actually, from a leverage perspective, we are seeing that it's a little bit negative. We are seeing people just uncomfortable being very much full on leverage. What's going on, Fairground? Can you give me an opinion? Do you think XLM Stellar will rise? I mean, it's going to rise if the market rises. My only view on XLM is I just don't know why people wouldn't have XRP or HBAR. I've got to be honest. I don't mind XLM, by the way. I know some people do have a bigger interest in terms of the YouTube chat. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's all right. It'll rise if XRP rises. Remember, it's built by the same people. I just think at the minute, it doesn't have a unique SSP. It's a bit like, or USP, sorry. It's just a little bit like, it's just there. But then I think the total market's just there. Like, everyone hates crypto right now. Like, no one cares. These are the moments where, obviously, you take advantage, in my opinion, and if you have the capital to do so. So, like I said, this is sort of interesting. What we could see is a potential push up. Wouldn't surprise me if we retest 73,000. If you look at the chart here, where would 73,000 get us to? The 50-day EMA. No real surprise if we've got that wick up. Again, Coinbase Premium Index, telling us that actually might be a thing as well. Thanks for your opinion, mate. I know nothing. I put 2,500 in February 12th, so I wanted to go big. Look, again, I think XLM has a real opportunity. I mean, the worst thing right now is obviously you're looking at it in the worst possible time, but depends whether you look at this as opportunity or you look at it as defeat. And I think I would always be in a world of saying, look, if you don't need that 2.5 grand, then cool. Like, just, it's got a lot of infrastructure, ISO 222 compatible. And if XRP skyrockets, XLM will get a bonus as well. Provide better for my family. That's all. Hey, look, we're all in it for the same reasons, my man. All in the same reasons. So all I would say, for some sentimental emotion, the fact you're investing in the crypto market will be good news. And my suggestion, as I say to a lot of people, is I invest in the crypto market for my children, as opposed to doing it through the traditional banking system of doing these stupid savings accounts that you can't even access as a parent. So yeah, shout out to you, my man, and good job getting in it. And like I said, XLM, it definitely has some opportunities for sure. Is it going to be the craziest one? I don't know. I would be very much in a world of, as markets recover and this sort of bear market comes to an end and we start to really, see what's going on, and you can get back to maybe break even or whatever. It might be worth just, if that's your entire investment, then, distributing a little bit out. But hey, it's not like you've invested in like Ars Crackino or something crazy like that, in my opinion. Next is 4 more years of sideways. To have to wait for another 4 years. I mean, potentially. Hey man, just join in. What's your thoughts on XRP? Bullish. FV Tube. Yeah, I mean, I just dropped a video earlier on this morning, actually, just talking about the fact that, XRP being integrated into MasterCard. People just go, oh yeah, XRP and MasterCard, it's great. It's great. When you dive deeper and you understand that XRP is integrating into MasterCard's rails, i.e. the payment rail system, then you kind of go, holy shit, this is kind of crazy. $130 trillion running through with over 115 million active participants every single day on the MasterCard network is fucking crazy. So the fact that you have this sort of integration is pretty wild, in fairness. So yeah, definitely go check that video out, by the way. It's a good one, in my opinion. Obviously, I'm going to be slightly biased, but I do think it's a good video. Okay, so Coinbase Premium Index telling us that, look, we might get short-term moves to the upside. The sentiment from a leverage position, which might not be the worst thing in the world, by the way, because, we don't want loads and loads and loads of loads of leverage attached to it. How much XRP is a good bag? 5 to 10. It's whatever you think is appropriate. What I would be in the world of saying is be mindful. You're not going to be able to put $100 in and walk away with 10 million. That's not going to happen. But, if you think 55,000 is, right now going to be like 4,100 or something. You think about when that hit $3.80, that's 12 grand in it. You potentially at nearly a 3x if it gets to previous highs. So yeah, again, my view is don't go all in on everything. I think it's worthwhile just going in a few things. Easy. Did you miss a review? I will review it. It's been a really choppy market, so it hasn't actually performed that well. But yeah, I'll show you guys that later on. Definitely. I got some XRP, also have XLM ages ago. Nice, Paul. What's going on, buddy? Look, again, good coins. Lots of good stuff coming. So, okay, let's carry on. So, global M2 strength is something that I think we didn't cover off last night, but is worth touching on right now because people get, and again, you know, we sort of walk through some of this stuff, and, you know, we've always been pretty optimistic about global M2, but it depends where it's going, isn't it? It depends where it's going. If it's going into US treasuries, if we're seeing people start to pump their particular economy, then fine, like, cool. If it's going into just complete nonsense, you're like, bro, this is not what we're about. It's not what we're about. So, you know, you always have to be kind of, in my opinion anyway, you have to be mindful of it. But global M2 right now is kind of setting up as a very interesting move. And actually, there is a view here that says, look, the bear, bull, and flat mark always operate very, very similar. So, you know, bear market ending, mid-cycle push, and the final parabola, which is generally where you see these kind of big spikes to the upside. How is it playing out right now? Well, look, global M2 has slowed down. Oil is going to kill global M2. Let's just be clear about that. The fact that you're going to have restrictions of oil is going to be pretty painful. Obviously, we came off the top phase 3, so now the expectation is, look, if you look at previous cycles, we have seen a capitulation to the downside before we then enter into the bear market ending, and then the move back to the upside. We're not in that place right now. You can see here that many people believe that we have got somewhere to go. Global M2 strength declines after the top March 2026. So, you know, this is going to be an interesting one. M2 is coming down. Price of oil is going to kill M2 as well. So this is worth noting. No one's going to print money if they can't make the money work. You know, you think about like the Federal Reserve, you think about kind of how they would all play out. It's pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting if you ask me. Do I host you are live every night? What's going on? Yeah, Paul, I am. Other than Saturdays, I don't stream Saturdays. I have Saturdays off. Considering 2.2k is a top 10%, 10k bag is like top 5. You can't say it's a bad bag because it ain't at 100k. I mean, that's true, Curse. Tried to hold a minimum of 5,000 XRP. There you go. Grimmer says, quick. No dramas, man. You gotta enjoy it. You gotta enjoy it. Best meme coins to hold. If I'm absolutely dead honest right now, I just don't know if they're a good idea to hold. And I hold some meme coins, hold Pepe, hold Bonk, but they're historical from the previous bull market. Now, we've been discussing Pump, which might be an interesting one, but yeah, I don't know if I would do anything right now. Again, my view is I'm waiting to see what happens. Sergio the Bill says, Bollinger Bands on the daily are really tight, so a big move incoming soon. The debate is going to be which way, isn't it? That's going to be the big question right now. So, again, look, M2 here, global M2 is declining. So if you're of a view that says, well, M2 will push price higher, then you have to then attribute the opposite, which is if M2 starts to contract, you assume that then global markets retract as well. You kind of have to get into that place. You can't have, well, markets pump on M2 skyrocketing and markets pump on M2 declining. Those two things don't make any sense. So I thought this was an interesting one to look at. So given all of that, and you kind of have this narrative of just a bear market, I don't think there's anything really crazily special or different about where we are right now. How does the oil situation really play out? And, you know, my statement at the start of the stream was, I think Trump's playing chicken with with a regime that I don't think he can win against, which is important. So this is kind of what he's talking about, right? This is everything he's saying, these 400 or 170 million barrels or whatever it is. I can't remember exactly what it is, but this is essentially what Trump's saying he's going to release. So the US oil reserves will then set to hit the lowest since the 1980s, as I said yesterday. The problem here is that if he releases this oil, then essentially if the price continues to skyrocket, so for example, Iran keeps the straits closed, they keep even just propagandering, you know, burner ship here, burner ship there, burner ship everywhere, then this becomes a problem because you've got nowhere else to go right now. And I think this is why he's been holding off so long, because, you know, the reality is that it's going to be painful. If oil keeps going up, do you think a crash in the market? Yeah, I mean, look at today, for example, Dr. Crypto, $1 trillion wiped off the entire global stock market because of the tension in Iran. 100%. People aren't so neglectful of the oil price and they're just so non-understanding of what's going on. You know, and people will say, well, oil spiked to $100 a barrel and Bitcoin's still where it is. It is at the minute. It is at the minute. People are coming out of stocks. They're going to cash. People are going to take the chance that Bitcoin becomes the alternative asset right now. But, you know, eventually it will roll over exactly as it has in previous times. So look, this is important to reference. Now, why is this going to get worse? Well, this is also, I mean, you could argue this may even be deliberate. I mean, I don't know. But Russia's crude output in February fell for a third month in a row. So what you have here is a very interesting moment. You essentially have Russia depleting its production, okay? Declining the amount, not by loads, but it is declining the amount of oil that's been produced. You then end up with Trump basically controlling what is the Straits of Hormuz, but not really. Like Iran essentially have it. Now, what you're then going to get is, let's say, for example, Chinese tankers start to go through, which is what Iran's saying, that the only tankers can go through the Strait of Hormuz that won't be attacked is Chinese tankers. Then you end up in this really weird place. Again, back to the point I was saying, that I don't think Trump can win a game of chicken against oil, and in particular against Iran and China. So the fact that you're going to see this kind of reduction of oil is going to spike the price of oil. It's as simple as that. Oil will keep going up. Now you could argue, say, well, brilliant, I'm going to fucking long this. Great news. Price is going to go up. And yeah, I mean, look, if Iran's going to get $200 a barrel, I mean, it may be. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw it yesterday. They've adopted like suicide boats or some sort of crazy stuff. Interesting. All non-Hormuz oil can increase. Well, this is what we're looking at. So this is Russia's crude output is declining. So actually, where would the oil come from? Well, Oman's depots got hit, so Oman's going to struggle. So you're then looking broader than the Middle East, in my opinion. So it's like, where do you go from there? I mean, I'm trying to think where global oil would come from outside of the Middle East. Like, where does it come from? Just out of pure curiosity. Okay, here we go. So Algeria, the Congo, Equatorial Guinea. I mean, think about it. Like, think about it. I mean, are they going to increase production? Maybe. Gabon, Iraq, Kuwait, Nigeria, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Iran, Libya, Venezuela. I mean, Venezuela is definitely a link, isn't it, for sure? ETH is bull. I mean, Connor Price, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, we'll talk about why that is. We'll talk about why ETH is good at the minute, for sure. One video this morning, 200 price. Well, that's what Iran wants to. That's what Iran wants to get to. You then have Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Mexico, Oman, Russia, and others. So, if you're thinking about like potentially where that would look for as I guess as a support to the US, it doesn't feel like that would be is the Congo going to start giving loads of oil to, to the US? I don't think they will. I mean, they may do, I guess, which is kind of wild. But again, gives you kind of an idea of where some of this kind of works through, and some of it certainly where something sits right now. Just in terms of US oil production, you can see that here. So I know some of you guys are like, well, it's fine. So again, you can see, look, light blue is the, North American production. You've got Latin America, which is the slightly lighter blue as well. And, Central CIS, which is the sort of middle here. So yeah, pretty interesting. And I do think it's going to be a problem. Now, natural gas has been pretty tasty as well. So, worth thinking about as that one walks through. Okay, so that's kind of interesting if you ask me, and certainly he's aligning to this discussion period that we're going to see some more prices spiking. But it's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but it's fine, because how do you know that prices are going to go up? How could you know someone was worried about a April CPI report? Can anyone have a guess? Right, and we haven't heard this for a while. Yeah, Venezuela can definitely up it. I mean, they've just taken 160 million barrels, I think it was. But how do you tell someone is worried about the cost of things going up in the next CPI report? Does anyone want to hazard a guess? Anyone at all? Craig must have slept in. He's getting in now. He's now. But I doubt that will happen, and the industry will even US interests will say it's a bad idea. Yeah, potentially. Yeah, Russia's output is declining because Ukraine is really good at hitting. I mean, I saw that. I did see that. Okay, so how do you know that basically you are worried about a CPI report? You start telling that Jerome Powell's crap at his job again, and you essentially tell him that he should immediately cut interest rates. Immediately cut those interest rates. I mean, we haven't heard this rhetoric for a while, have we? It's all been a bit like, oh yeah, it's fine, don't worry about it. Kevin Walsh is going to be perfect. Today, Trump's like, cut the rates, Powell, you massive chopper. Pretty crazy if you ask me. Pretty crazy. And again, we said this last night. The March CPI read that'll come in April will be bad on energy. All right. We said this last night. Again, as much as, people were calling me thick and all the rest of it, these are the things that we need to be aware of. So yeah, where is the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Too Late Powell today? He should be dropping interest rates immediately, not waiting for the next meeting. President Donald J. Trump. Now, here's the problem with the next meeting. There ain't no way on hell he's dropping the rates. Not a fucking chance. 5 days, 20 hours to find the absolute rate stay the same. 99.2% is the current expectation that rates will stay the same in March. There is no way on this planet Jerome Powell cuts rates. Even if Jerome Powell wanted to, there is no way they cut rates at all. I don't think it'll be till maybe June that you even think about a rate cut. And even that's starting to look pretty unlikely right now, because the problem with anything is with rate cuts what's the word I'm looking for? Unstable. Oh my God. I was thinking instability, but I don't think that's a word actually. So you have to get this kind of instability. That's the word I'm looking for in the market. And we're not going to get it. And then Trump's like, yeah, bashing 301 tariffs on again. Like the fact of the matter here is the Federal Reserve will do nothing, right? If you've got tariffs, war, like they just won't. All right. They just won't. So, he is absolutely naive if he thinks like Jerome Powell's going to come out and do it. Most of Europe are going to hold their rates. Yeah. I mean, I think the ECB dropped last time. I think we kept Emilio. Hey, 2-bit, I'm back. What's going on? Good to see you. Cut the rates, pal. Yeah, I know. Cut the rates, pal. That's the biggest problem, global instability. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Which you could argue, well, Bitcoin's almost a little bit of a that transcends global problems, that, whatever you can transact right now. But, my view my view on this is markets do not like instability. And I think as much as Trump can kind of push this narrative, and as much as he can be like, hey, it's all going to be fine, I don't believe that it's going to be. And this is kind of why my thoughts and thesis is absolutely we see it push down the market. Sorry, we ain't getting rate cuts until fall, if that, unless the new Fed chair. Well, I mean, this is the problem though, isn't it? Because let's say Kevin Walsh comes in and he goes, oh yeah, let's cut rates by 50 basis points. He will have zero credibility. None. Absolutely no credibility whatsoever, which is why I don't think they can do it. Just a slight question. PERP going up. PERP. I mean, I don't even know what that is. Perpetual protocol. That one is that? Is that what it is? No, it's down nearly 8%. If that's the one you're thinking of, it's down 8%. Its volume is about 500k, and the chart looks absolutely dreadful. So, if it's that one, if it's perpetual protocol, it looks horrible. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Grimmer, he hasn't mentioned them in a bit. Tim, why do we care at all what the USA is doing with tariffs? Soon they're going to swim alone in the world. Well, I mean, potentially. I mean, the problem you've got a little bit, though, is from a tariff perspective, I mean, there's a lot of suing going on and all that kind of stuff. It just depends what happens, doesn't it? It depends what happens with the suing, and depends whether people actually listen or care about. And I think if they do, it'll be fine. If they don't, then yeah, that's where it gets pretty tasty. But yeah, I buy when it's 600. Wow. No way, bro. What? No, I'm not looking at the right thing. Definitely not. Damien, thanks for the heart, me, my man. Good to see you, buddy. I'm not looking at the right thing. PERP, perpetual protocol. That's never been $600. The most it's ever been is like $25. Not many look good other than say hype and a couple of others. Yeah. I bet in fairness. I bet Powell is going in like a few months, plus Powell is literally in court case of Trump, and the fake charges is going to give Trump a fake. Yeah, it's never going to happen. Never in a million years going to happen. So yeah, worth thinking about on this one. Okay. But remember, as I've said a number of times here, and I reiterated this point last night, bear markets are where you have to watch what big money is doing, because big money is positioning itself for the next move in the market. Okay. So whenever they're telling people, like, for example, look at JP Morgan, you look at Morgan Stanley, and look at a couple of others. They're all restricting their leverage position on loans. So they're not loaning as much out. They're being very, very, expectations is going to be. And bear in mind, there's loads of legislation coming down that they're going to have to hold less crypto assets to be able to lend against it, which is kind of interesting. But, loads of banks have kind of been very, very, very cautious, which means the traditional finance sector is certainly starting to shrink, which may then offset, potentially a little bit here in the Bitcoin and the crypto market. But look at this. ETHB, the Ethereum staking ETF by iShares by BlackRock, is officially live. $11.2 million was trading this. Opened assets at 100 million as well, which is kind of pretty interesting as well. So yeah, kind of wild to think that officially staking's here and BlackRock own it. if we have a cash when crypto and stocks are you looking to buy? So I've said between 58,000 and 60, I will be in. So I'm looking for a big 6-figure long trade position, and I'll also be buying spot bags. So I have like 55% of my entire portfolio from the 2025 bull market in stablecoin right now, ready to go. So yeah, 58 to 60, I'm going to be in, and then that trade will be on as well. So, I don't care if we go lower. I don't think we do. I've said all along we don't. And I think it's important that you stick to your convictions and stick to what you believe. Again, my sentiment was that this market's going to go down. I shorted the market last night, had a nice little return of about 12%. You're like, all right, cool. So yeah, 58 to 60, that's my zone right now. What about the DTC stopping human activity at the end of this month? I mean, the AI revolution's coming, isn't it? I think it'll all depend. I mean, so many things say we're going to stop entire human activity. It's not as obvious or as easy as that, I think. There'll be some. But yeah, pretty wild in fairness. So yeah, but I don't think it's like as big as, there'll be people there somewhere. I'm sure there will be. Yeah, worth noting though. In theory, when everyone hyped, market goes down. Last time when everyone said it's going down, it went down. Yeah. Well, look, Grimmer, this is the problem, isn't it? This is why so many people end up getting wrecked in this market, because people will say, I'm not going to buy crypto right now because I think it's a scam. I think it's going to go lower. Like I lost all this money. This is the point here, isn't it? This is why you get, big money starts to position itself when no one else wants to do it. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. We're seeing big money. We talked about this yesterday, this kind of, bigger holder perspective, but lots of retail investors are offloading while long-term holders remain inactive. So those that are positioned are like, yeah, screw it, I'm just here for the long run. And those short-term holders are simply selling at a loss. And that's, again, another reason why I think this market's going to push down. Just a real quick note, by the way, if you haven't hit the like button, and if you haven't hit the subscribe button, I would really appreciate if you do it. It would massively help out the channel, supports what we're doing here. And like I said, at the minute, if you think about like the crypto market and the price action's bad, think about the views on YouTube. Like it's awful right now. No one cares about cryptocurrency. So again, little thumbs up here, little comment there. It does do all the world of good supporting us. Okay, so continuing on, by the way, big money. Now, no surprise, Standard Charter are starting to get a little bit noisy as to what they think is going on in the crypto market. The question, will the bull market begin for Bitcoin? When will it happen? Standard Charter have been pretty inaccurate with their predictions. They did predict 165,000 for the previous bull market. Didn't get there. But what are they saying? And actually, this is to do with Jeff Kendrick. He's the head of digital asset research at Standard Charter. And he says this, describing the recent market downturns as not as a crypto winter, but as a temporary cold breeze. Kendrick provided a clear answer to questions most frequently asked by investors. When will the next bull market begin? That's where it gets interesting. He says this, according to the analyst, a final cleanup in Bitcoin's price down to the $50,000 level is possible. Kendrick believes a potential pullback is not a disaster, but rather a last buying opportunity before the bull market cycle. No surprise then, we are starting to see positional moves from big money, banks, institutions, you name it, they're all starting to get into a pretty interesting place as well. So, it's worth watching what they're doing and not what they're saying. That's my opinion, because so many of these, look at JP Morgan's a great example of that. Oh, we think Bitcoin's rubbish. We think digital assets are crap. We think that they're not worth it. If you want to be a bank, blah, 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 blah. Secretly buying Bitcoin, buying iShares, ETFs, and running their entire network through a blockchain. I mean, you couldn't get more like do as I do, not as I say kind of nonsense, could you? But yeah, pretty interesting. My wife is holding me on her cross share. I better stay running or you'll soon have one less viewer permanently. Run. It's fine. Wink if you need us to come and help you. Now, which one is best for the long run? As in coins. Well, what I would say to you is, Saro J, go and take a look on my YouTube channel. I actually posted a video that talked about 4 altcoins I think are going to do very, very well. Not only just in this year, but actually probably in the next bull market cycle as well. So definitely go and check them out. If I was to give you one coin that I would suggest going and look at, and something I've been discussing, Morpho, it has pumped a bit, but look, if you look at what they're building, their Vault 2 just broke $1 billion. Like, it's a pretty interesting one. I'm not saying you have to go and buy it. I'm advocating for you to go and do some research in it. But yeah, go check that video out. It's literally on the home screen of my YouTube channel. It talks about 4 coins I think are going to be really, really good. And of which I own 3 of them. Hyperliquid I don't own yet. and I absolutely have been looking to get this position. But right now, I'll wait for this to push down, and then I may take a look at what's going on with it. Can you like stake with Hyperliquid? Is that, can you like make it use on the utilize and the thing? But I mean, look, this breaks above like 38.23. Like, see you later, sayonara, goodbye. Hyperliquid might go to the moon very quickly indeed. Very, very quickly indeed. What you prefer for perp? Oh, you mean you were on about? You're not on about a coin, are you? You're on about. Are you on about perpetuals trading? That's what you're talking about, are you? So I don't. The only thing I trade is futures, really. I don't. I mean, is this? Well, yeah, technically it's perpetuals, isn't it? But yeah, I don't do loads of it, and I don't really do big money either. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not. Look, I've been doing pretty well recently. I mean, quite a lot of the trades have actually netted some. Well, you can't see it, but yeah, you know, the last 3 have all netted green. We've only had 1 that netted out negative actually in the last, like, I don't know, month or something. So yeah. Hey Jupiter, how about you take a leaf from the Man United fan? You don't cut your hair or shave your beard until Bitcoin reaches all-time high. Can you imagine? Have you seen that guy? He literally looks like a massive microphone. I mean, fair play to him. I bet he weighs an absolute ton, that head. But yeah, that is that's wild. That is wild. Where is he at? I can't remember where he's at right now. But I mean, it's a monstrous haircut, isn't it? There he is. Look, is it 5 games and he's going to shave his head? I think it's 5. I think it's 5 games, isn't it? I mean, so sorry, I don't want to make crazy. It's fine. What I would suggest, look, you got to do your own thing, and we're not here. But what I would suggest is we do have a free Discord that you can join. Link is in the bio. It's totally free to get involved. And yeah, hang around in there, see what's going on. We do have a premium Discord in which you can join by going to whoop.com and look for 2-bit crypto. You can join that. It's about $11 a month, I think. That gives you access to 2 of our trade bots that's in there. That's going to do your TA for you. It's going to show you charts. It's going to give you a view on what is going on. We also have our 4 trading guides in which you can use in there as well. And you get that all for free by simply just becoming a member. So if you want to get access to that, go onto the bio, check out the link tree, and that will take you to my YouTube channel. It'll take you to the whoop.com thing, and you can sign up if you are interested. If not, just join the Discord. It's definitely chill. You can get in there. It's super easy. Just make sure you validate yourself, and that way you don't get yeeted out and jump somewhere else. So yeah, just my opinion. So yeah, if you go to the link tree here, look, you can. I mean, you can literally scan it here. Look, right now, you can't see it's behind my head, but you can see there. Look, with the latest content that we're doing, and then you can join this the 2-bit crypto alpha trading group. You just click it, and it will take you ultimately to the whoop.com where you can sign up. There's a free one if you need to just chat to me, ask me any questions, or be like, hey, what's this, what's that, what's the other, and then you can join this one here, which basically gives you access to our full premium Discord, in which we have all those things in there as well. Do you have any courses for beginners for free? No, is the honest answer. It is the honest answer. But what I would suggest is just be part of the live stream. We talk about the markets. We go through trade setups. We potentially go through, we've talked about patterns and trades that actually here live. Sometimes I'll trade live on the stream. So it gives you kind of a thought and a view as to kind of what we're looking at right now. But yeah, that is that. But in the, in the premium Discord, we have, like I said, 4 free, 4 frees. He got 4 wins in a draw. Wow. Well, hey, mate, me again. Good to see you. Do you see the W yet on BTC? On where is it? On the daily. I mean, you could argue, yeah, the daily candle is starting to play out there, isn't it? A little bit. You could argue as well, though. I mean, you could argue if you're going a little bit nearer here. You've got a big cup and handle that's playing out right now, which generally, then we get the break, that is kind of the cup and handle pattern that you can kind of break out and see. But yeah, I am up today. Yeah, I took a short trade last night and then it was very good, actually. It was a nice short trade, 70,500, closed the trade out at, man, I can't remember what it was like. Closed it at 69.7. So yeah. Decent little trade, nothing super crazy, but yeah, we've had a couple of nice Couple of nice trades this week. All, all kind of playing out reasonably well. So, like I said, sometimes you just got to try and trade the market the best you think. Sometimes you get it right, and sometimes you won't. That's just my opinion. So, yeah. Emilio says 80K is on the table. Wow. Interesting. Biggest PIP win. What does PIP mean? PIP. Am I missing something? Got to call Chuck Norris. Get him on the phone. Most unwanted hair, the most things to do. Yeah, come on. We don't need to go down that route. No. Come on. What is that about? Okay. So, yeah, I don't know what pips are. By the way, if they're called something else, then fine. But I might just be being naive here. But what are pips? Pips is a cryptocurrency Web3 platform designed for facilitating crypto payments, social media. Okay, no idea. Mario says, I think we dropped down first. Yeah, look, that's my view, by the way. That's my view. For what it's worth, I think it is. A percentage in profit. Oh, man, I have no idea. See, this isn't the biggest account I have. This is a funded account by Weex. Bitunix, the other one. I don't know if I'm honest. Like I said, I'm not a massive trader, so yeah, I'm not like, I wouldn't say, yeah, I've done like 100 grand on a trade. Like, I'm just not that player. I'm not that player. I like I said, I'm much more still. And by the way, I'm not professing I'm some sort of expert here at all. I think what I have learned recently, and certainly where I think is now improving my trading game, is taking trades that I'm pretty certain about, rather than just randomly like going, well, the market's gone up today, so it's probably going to go down. I think you just have to be really sensible as to how you do it. So, yeah. For example, if gold moves $10 to 100 pips. I mean, I have no idea, to be honest. Because, I mean, what relevance is that? That doesn't make any... You might as well say... Yeah, because you could say, well, I had a position on Bitcoin from $126,000 to $70,000, but I was at 2x leverage with $500 on margin. Like, it would mean nothing. You could be at 200x leverage and get and if you got 500x leverage on XE, you could be at 200x leverage on $50 and nail a dump. The only thing that's pissed me off on a couple of trades, we missed the really big dump recently by about $18, which is kind of annoying, but yeah, I don't really get into the whole like, oh, my trade's bigger than your trade kind of nonsense. I just think, if you're trading big money and you're doing very well, then good luck to you. And I hope you win. That's my opinion. Relax, but no one here is a rocket scientist for crypto. That's why we're all here, I guess. I think it's just through... Yeah, look, Grimmer, that's exactly what we want to do. That's what this channel's all about, by the way, in my opinion. So many times... If I remember my time, I joined the crypto market 2017. First bull market went through by myself, lost so much money. Second bull market went through with a few close, friends and acquaintances, better. And then obviously the last bull market we went through as a bigger community, which arguably, as much as it just ended up abruptly, did pretty well. I'm not gonna lie. We sold, I was 55% out of my entire portfolio, $109,000 on BTC. So, it did pretty well. Could have done way better. Let's just call it that. Could have done so much better. But hey, it is what it is. What size you lot is so many pips of an asset? Why are we talking like pips? I don't understand. Are people just asking like how much we put on trades? I just don't get the idea of behind pips. I think maybe I'm just not. That's just not my scene, is it? It's not my scene. I'm sorry if I sound thick, but don't hold it against me, people. All right. Don't hold it against me. Okay. So what do we see in the short term then? Let's have a look and let's try and, let's go through this as a community and let's see what we see here on the chart. I mean, the obvious one is just a real sense of consolidation, in my opinion, by the way. I don't really think it's doing anything outside of just ranging right now. Do you think Evernorth will keep their promise of 1 billion XRP buyback in the quarter one, or will they kick the can down? No, I think they'll buy back. I think they will. Yeah, exactly, Casey. You live and learn. I've always said this, by the way. You can lose money in this market as long as you learn why. Why did you lose that money? Who did you trust? What trade did you take that you shouldn't have done? What coin did you buy that you shouldn't have done? Etc., etc., etc. That's the best way to do it, in my opinion. That's the best way. Was just 300 USD on a 150X with 200 USD backing it on cross for long from 61 in at 70. Nice, bro. Nice. Like 11K after the feed. Bro. Hey, if you can make it, love it. Thank you so much for the 10 as well. Appreciate it. Hey, no disrespect taken, by the way. Like I said, I like to come from it of the narrative of I understand the very much basics of trading. I understand structures. I understand patterns, all that kind of stuff, right? I'm still in a world, though, where I'm just like, I'm not going to drop, big money on this. And I think, if anything, I'm probably too restrictive on my trades. So many times I end up getting wicked out by about $50, and I, probably should just have a little bit more aggression with it. But hey, it is what it is. Like I said, PIP is a standard unit used to measure how much the price of an asset changes. Think of it as the smallest common price movement traders track. Example, EUI USD equals 1.10, which is a 1.105. It is a 1 pip move. All right. Okay, fine. Fine. You're a pip. Fine. I mean, there you are. You learn something new every single day, which is great news. I mean, does that influence my trading pattern? Maybe not. But like I said, it is all what fits and feels the best. Because, the thing I think a lot of people don't realize, and it's so easy, isn't it, to go onto social media and be like, people just flexing some like trade that they did. Oh, look at this. Oh, my bro, yeah, like just flex like 50 grand on a trade. Come on, like, easy to make with AI, but, make pips again. My view is you just got to do what you got to do. Now, what are we looking at here? Short term, are we about to see, I mean, where would that go? Probably, no, that's probably not there, actually. What am I doing? Let's take it from candle body to candle body. Outside of that, I mean, you kind of got an interesting structure coming in. You got the lower low here. You then get the slightly higher low. You're not really getting much structure here. I mean, you could argue if you go on the candle bodies, you're getting a little bit. I mean, this one's a kind of flat right now. You want to be looking, if we get a bounce here off around 70,241, then maybe we get a pushback. Anything up around 70,600 may invalidate the potential short in the short term and, potentially start to maybe wick back to the upside. Maybe. I still think this is super rangy right now. And interesting enough, a lot of the trend signals I'm getting are sell. So, people thinking bearish sentiment may be coming. I mean, ETH's a bit more obvious, isn't it? ETH's definitely in this kind of, ETH's probably forming a little bit of a pennant here, which could be pretty interesting. Again, similar to what you've got. Look at this, into the pennant, up. Generally speaking, this would happen, and then you would obviously get the measured move going from there to there down here where you get to the breakout, which takes ETH down to probably $2,000, something like that. So yeah, I think ETH's probably looking like it could fall over. I have to see. Like I said, I definitely think there's a lot to do with the whole Iran situation, but we'll just keep a really short look on BTC here and see if it's doing anything crazy. Bro, I'm down 13K from the last 6 months. Truth hurts, just happy to get it back. I mean, the great news is, and again, I would advocate for this, by the way, that it's good to have a percentage of your portfolio that you can use for trading, especially if you know what you're doing. But then at the same time, I just have some positions in. Even if you're buying Bitcoin at $70,000, you're arguably going to say, well, I'm probably going to do all right if I can hold it for long enough. So, for me, that's why I kept some of my positions. So I have Aerodrome staked. In fact, let's have a quick look at Aero, because that obviously was, we looked at it yesterday, which I think was 20, what was it at yesterday? 26? I have my Solana staked. I have my Pepe, I'm earning 170,000 Pepe every single day. And my USDT is actually staking and it's earning a little bit of reward as well. So yeah. Yeah, look at that. So I earned 4 Aero. I mean, it's obviously not, it's like $1, but hey, still $8 a week. All right. At this current price, I'll take that all day long. Okay. So, let's just take a look here. This is a Weex.com. You can check out the link in the description if you are interested. Also, it's on the pinned bio if you were looking to get involved. But yeah, this kind of giving us a bit of a view here. But I mean, what have you got? If you went from a higher trend line here, let's take it from the candle body. It's kind of getting there. I mean, it's definitely kind of getting there. And as always, that is the obvious pattern that plays out. Oops, that last one I probably should have had a bit better, like that, isn't it? Down. If this gets up, I mean, it could wick back up. And then down. And like I said, someone was talking about the Bollinger Bands, I think, starting to get pretty tight here on this. I think we probably put it on here, actually. There you go. There you are, Bollinger Bands. So you can see the Bollinger Bands are tightening here, which tells us that, yeah, potentially there's a move coming. So, you know, we either reject and push down, and then you get the move down to the downside, which is probably, look, it's not going to go super crazy. We're not going to, you know, we're not going to wick down to like 60K or something like that just overnight, but you can sort of feel this structure is starting to play out. And, you know, we've seen this structure happen before. We were looking at this, you know, yesterday or the day before. You know, you sort of get a similar, you know, similar vibe here. Look, the only, you know, the difference with this one though is you actually came in this, you know, this kind of was a more bullish move, but, you know, and then we get the breakdown, consolidation and the kind of move. So yeah, pretty interesting patterns playing out. If you believe that the same happens, you know, you got the cup and handle pattern that played out, you know, potentially here, look, with the breakout to the upside, but then the rejection. So some pretty interesting patterns playing out on this particular chart. So, you know, where do we think it's going? Put your comments in the chat. Let's see what you guys think. Let's see what you guys think. I know where I'm at. I've done, you know, have been in a world where I think it's going to go down. So let's take a look just because you guys asked for it. So let me just sign into the trading bot and I'll show you guys what that one's doing as well. I mean, like I said, it's not this market, but it being so volatile and being obviously the bigger kind of move on BTC with kind of the oil situation, it hasn't actually performed that well, but I'll show you in a second anyway. Blazer X in the building. Holy crap. What's going on, bro? Welcome back. I mean, whether you're here for the long term or just tonight, who knows? But yeah, what's going on, mate? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Can't see the live on TikTok. What is happening? I'm live on TikTok right now. Yeah. I'm definitely live on TikTok right now. So yeah, shout out to you, buddy. Hope you're all doing well. Yes. So... yeah, so I did call one a while back. I was a VC investor in it. I actually got a message from somebody and they were like, hey, bro, we're going to be launching a new coin. If that goes through and I agree some bits and terms and stuff with them, then I'll share that one. Looks pretty interesting, if I'm honest. But yeah, I mean, I do not as much now because I think the market's terrible and it's really challenging to get some good coins in there. But yeah, if this one does play out, I will let you guys know. Yeah, could be an interesting one. Could be an interesting one. So, like I said, I'll share it with you guys. But yeah, we also have a bot in our Discord that you can actually use to check on what am I thinking of here? Check on like DeFi players. You can actually just put the contract address in. It'll take a look at them and be like, nah, or yeah, etc. So yeah. So here we are. Look on BTC right now. This could be interesting on the 5-minute. Do we think we get a wick up? I mean, we could get a wick. If we get a breakout, that could be pretty crazy in fairness, but you know, where's the next? I mean, you could short this from like 70,400. That could be a pretty interesting short, actually. Look for the short here, down to the downside. You'd argue and set your stop loss there at what, 70? Well, probably a little bit higher, 70,600. I did not mean to do that. Oops. That one. And then there it is. Yeah, so it could be an interesting trade at that one. Thanks for the 5 as well. Yeah, appreciate it, man. BCC Sampler, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate your kind words. Appreciate the donos. Very much appreciated. Too bad I can't see you live on TikTok. Am I barred? Nope. No, definitely not. There's 40 people right now on my TikTok. Shall I share? How do I share it with you? I think I need to share it on here. How do I share this? This one? Hold on a minute, TikTok. You need to go. Oh my God, I'm really close to that screen. There, Blazer. Where are you? Where are you, Blazer? Are you still on the same account, yeah? Let me, I'm going to share it with you in, there you go. I've shared it in Telegram because I can't find you in TikTok. So, are you sure it's me and not you that's like, all got a bit weird? Maybe it's you. Oh my God, there's just a giant face of me on the screen. Like, what is that about? Blazer banned you now. You can't see each other. I mean, he might have done. He might have done. I hope he didn't. It'd be weird if he didn't. Cool. Praying for BTC to fall to buy on sale. Yeah, well, look, I think a lot of us. I don't think you're. I don't think you need to worry about it. I mean, 30 odd people are in it, which is wild. But yeah, I mean, I don't know why it's not saying I'm live, but I mean, there's a surprise, eh? There's a surprise. I mean, maybe, but I mean, there's 40 people in here. Like, people are finding me, so I can see that. Like, Andrew Gaffney's just joined. Johnny Howie's just joined. You know, a few people have joined, but I mean, I did message them about this before, and they were like, "Oh no, it's fine." So I have a second phone here. Let me come off this. I have a second phone. Let me have a look and see what's going on. See if it comes up live for me. How do I come out of this? There. How do you like notifications? Does it show there? Where does it show? It shows on my phone. I think it's you. It shows on my second phone that I can see myself as live. Definitely. Definitely. Do I have some sort of overall liquidity chart? Hey, do I have an overall liquidity chart? You tell me what liquidity you want, bro. I got you covered. I can bring up any liquidity you want. You can tell me what you want. Do you want to know what's in the European Central Bank, the People's Bank of China, the Bank of Japan? Do you want to know what the US money supply is, Europe money supply is, China money supply is? Do you want everything? I can bring it up. You name it, bro. I can keep it coming. Also, if you mean just generically look at the overall liquidity here, then I can show you that as well. I got you covered, bro. If you mean like this one. I think you are messed on X too. The other day I went to at you and had to almost put your whole name. I mean, X is just, it's wild. It wouldn't surprise me if I'm not just shadow banned everywhere, because even like YouTube's been slowing down. Like the videos have been, I told you it's been really hard. Like I don't know what I've done. I don't know how I've done it. But yeah, it's pretty wild in fairness. It is pretty wild. So, I mean, I've never been able to get engagement going on X. Never, ever in my life. Don't matter if I post the most relevant conversations, the best information. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, when I search 2bit, I do come up as the top thing, but I'm searching for my own account. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. And like I said, the fact that like I can't get a video over about 700 views at the minute on YouTube is probably something as well. So, you know, sometimes you just have to grind though. That's my view. And, you know, it is what it is. They say there's nothing wrong. And, well, just got to try and keep putting good content out. That's the kicker on it. And hopefully people enjoy it and hopefully people watch it. And if they don't, then fine. If you guys keep smashing the like button, keep sharing, then, you know, I'm sure everything will be fine. I think the sentiment of crypto is just dreadful right now. It's just dreadful. Everyone hates crypto right now. So I think when you get into these kind of narratives, a lot of people just go to what they know, who they know. So that's people that end up being on like certain news articles or whatever. But yeah. So yeah. I was going to show you this, wasn't I? The Prime bot. It had a bit of a disaster. So you can see here, it did actually have a negative $8 day, which is kind of wild. March 10th. This was when we got the big wick up in price. So it did obviously, it's had 3 pretty pants days. It does seem to like to short the market versus long the market, just out of, just letting you know. But currently it's got a couple of trades open. One's up 231 on Tau, which is a long, and it's got a short on BTC that's currently up as well. So you can see some of these trades were just dreadful down here. It hasn't really done anything good. Had a little bit of a trade here. So it's kind of calmed itself down a little bit. But yeah, currently it's up on these 2 trades as it's there. So like I said, it's one of those where it's like, all right, cool. Just going to let it run and see kind of what happens. And, you know, just kind of wait and see how this all sort of plays out. And, you know, as this kind of works and goes through, then, yeah, we're just setting up APIs and stuff. And then we'll share some of this stuff out with you guys. Bear in mind, like I said, you are taking a risk with any of this. This is not a paid promotional at all. I mean, I could change some of these out. I mean, I could get rid of this Sui one that's really not doing anything. What is the Sui? It's a 30-minute beacon. I don't even know what that means. Let's get rid of the Sui one. And anything else that hasn't done a trade, we could get rid of that one. Pengu, let's get rid of that as well. And AVAX. Has AVAX done a trade? No, so let's get rid of AVAX as well. My opinions on BNMR and HUD stocks, buy, sell, keep forgetting. I mean, I'm hearing people talk about... I'm hearing people talk about Robinhood. Yeah, I'm definitely hearing that. Definitely hearing that. So maybe I'm not a big stocks guy, so I don't know loads really, but okay, shout out if you see anything that you like the look of that we could go into. So the Tau one, I feel like we're already in the Tau one. 30-minute quantum trade. Trend base. Bear 6.3 trillion now. What? What else is there? Pengu. So yeah, I was in that Pengu one, but it wasn't really doing anything. It's a high risk one. Maybe it needs a little bit more. Maybe it needs a little bit more leverage. I'm not sure. Injective. I mean, it's on a 2-hour basis. I was going to do something with Injective. So this is a reversal base. So, you know, when you kind of get this dump on the market, then you sort of get it. If it flips, then it sort of comes in it. Yeah, Ondo. Oh, the Ondo one might be good. Should we get into the Ondo one? Let's do that. Ondo is a Trinity strategy, whatever that means. So we can apportion a little bit here, look, to that. And let's drop the leverage down a little bit. All right, cool. Jasmine, please. Okay, give me a minute. We'll take a look at Jasmine in just a second. And what else have we got? Man, Whiff came back. This was like the worst trade possible that was in there. But yeah, it's starting to bounce back a little bit now. So interesting. What else you got? Injective, 2 hours. Okay, I'm not really bothered about 2-hour trade. Can we do it by time frame? No. Aero. I think I have that Aero trade. XLM. Oh, who was asking about XLM? We could have a 30-minute XLM trade. That could be pretty interesting. Beacon strategy. Turbo. That skyrocketed today, although I feel like that's probably a little bit more tasty. 15-minute near protocol. Let's do a near protocol one and see what it does. See what it does. All right. There we go. Cool. Cool. Right. Pull the beer token up 2-bit. I got you covered, bro. So anyway, I'll keep you posted on this. Like I said, we're just going to get the, we'll get the APIs and all the rest of it sorted. Then hopefully we'll be able to share this out with you guys. But how many bots have we got running? 1, 2, 3. Oh, we can get another bot in. Okay, fine. It's good on VHF. Good to see you, man. Welcome in. Right. Beer. Is that what it's called? Pull beer token up 2-bit. Is it this one here? Current market cap of 8.08 trillion. Is it that one? I mean, what is this? Like, what the actual flipping heck is that? Nah, this has got to be like liquidity. I mean, 70k. Like what? 6.3 trillion a coin each. Wow. What is it like? Unique traders. What? Easy EDC. I got you, man. No dramas. Like I said, we'll keep an eye on it. Hopefully it'll do something, but you know, whether it will or not, we'll see. We'll see. Might be a nice little test coming up right now. 5-minute chart here on BTC. What is going to happen, folks? The big question. Does BTC bounce off this support line or does it dump? I mean, it could go lower. First test would be there around 70,100 if it came a little bit lower, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Have you subscribed to the channel yet? Yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button, everybody. That'd be great. That'd be great if you could. It is worth it, in my opinion. Like I said, what? There we go. It's breaking down. Boop, 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 boop. Whoa, 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 whoa. I mean, it's only a little bit. We'll see in 20 minutes. Grimmer. That is true. That is true. Well, you look at the M pattern you've got playing out here on the shorter time frame. So your first potential wick down here is sort of there. You know, if you get some support there, then you might get it. You also then get the double bottom that's come in as well. Could play out here. So, you know, I reckon if this gets to around 70,100, this may roll over. And this is definitely downtrending as well by now. So, yeah, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Probably bounce. Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, green candle coming in. We're only on the 5-minute chart. So, it's hard to kind of get this, like, full sentiment of all of a sudden it just completely capitulates on itself. But, yeah, you can see right now it is definitely having a little bit of push down pressure. Where else could it go to? Bart Sonic, where have you been, bro? We missed you. Good to see you, man. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. So, I mean, yeah, if this loses this point, then, you know, maybe we get a little bit further of a wick down potentially. Look at that. That's going to pretty much align. I'm going to exclude that wick down. It's going to nearly align there to the 0.5 Fibonacci at 70,000. Pretty much on the money. So it either bounces here or it goes lower. Maybe you need to move the lower line. This one. I think it's on a higher time frame look. I mean, I guess you could argue and say it's probably there. There, maybe. Trying to get the majority of the touch points here, but yeah, I mean, it's come pretty close. Look at that. It went to 70,130 and it was 70,000. So we came within $8. Came within $8 of that line. Did you catch Crypto Jeb on his dive on STRC I bought a few months ago? Do you think its analysis right on STRC? Well, allegedly they just bought another 2,500 Bitcoin with it. So I mean, it's interesting. You got to ask yourself the question though that he's got. That's kind of how he's funding a lot of the, this sort of shelling of the shares, etc. Which is interesting. So yeah, I mean, maybe it plays out. Massive Bitcoin rising coming. Fairgrounds bullish. So look at that bounce from $8. $8. We were pretty close on that wick. If this stays, then fine. This might then start to print back to the upside for that range. The fact this didn't make it though probably tells me that this may stall, but halfway up and then potentially come down. But I mean, that's on the 5-minute, 15-minute chart. Similar sort of pattern here. I think is fair to say, isn't it? Similar sort of pattern is fair to say. I missed your personally. I'm sitting in cash, but I've been in World of It Financial since last week. Nice. I would have long. Depending, it just depends on trading strategy. I'm waiting. Yeah, I mean, look, I think you're in a similar sort of place we are, really. That's the sort of, my view as well. But yeah, I'll take a look at that Crypto Jeb thing. I like I said, there's only a few people I really watch on YouTube. I always think it's weird when you watch other people, you can be influenced by their content, and it's like, try not to get influenced by other people's views or, other people's kind of content, but yeah, it might be worth having a look at right now. But yeah, so I mean, interesting where we sit right now with BTC. Do we get a wick down? Let's just quickly check. So we can check two things I want to look at. That's the first one. And then the second one is just if there is any increasing tensions going on. So yeah, here's the Straits of Hormuz. I mean, it's kind of got a little bit more than yesterday, but not loads. Definitely not loads. So what do we got here? US confirmed Iran has laid mines in the Straits of Hormuz. US officials say Wednesday an estimated 10 mines have been deployed in the narrow waterway that carries 20% of the world's oil exports, according to the Wall Street Journal. Okay. United States is the largest oil producer in the world. Okay, cool. And what's that? Iran, Dubai. Okay, I think that was earlier on, so that's not really a big deal. Iran has rejected the Indian government's claim that Tehran granted any special permissions for ships to transit the Straits of Hormuz. Interesting breaking. Russia says Iran has the right to defend itself against the US and Israel. Okay, so we'll see. 100% I try not to get influence either. That's why I don't have groups. Sorry, I'm not part of the That's fine, mate. You don't have to be. It's only there as, if people want to do it. It's never expected. It's never, never taken for granted. And, people just being in the stream is good enough for me. So. All good. The Strait is getting up. Well, it depends on if they put loads more mines down, then it's going to get pretty tasty, I think. It's going to get pretty tasty. So, yeah, we'll have to kind of wait and see. But I'm not seeing anything that's like new news. Nothing coming in that's like, here's like the big deal. The biggest thing is obviously these mines. So it's whether they increase the number of mines in there, whether China does something. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's like I said, you've just got this big cluster of ships that are just chilling here, not really doing much. All massive oil tankers. So where's that one? Interstellar crude oil tanker. That's going to where? I don't even know. Use the route tool. What does that do? Oh my God, no, I don't want to create an account. Okay, it's fine. Destination is AEKLFOPL. I don't even know what that is. Well, yeah, I mean, like we've said, the oil risk is whether they the sell-off actually then doesn't. Sorry, the sell-off continues even after they release loads of the supply. That's going to be the big thing. Back in the 90s, I used to know a guy who traded oil as it's on the ships. He would sell and buy the same boat 10 times before it reaches its destination. Wish I was less dumb. It's pretty wild, isn't it? Mike, why didn't they make a channel further back instead of going right around the headline? Well, I mean, that's true, isn't it? That's true. I mean, you can't really see it. It's very faint here, but you can sort of see the channel here running round. The problem you've got is how narrow it gets here, look. It's like that. It's super small. Yeah. The problem you've got is, like, if you think about it, we as the UK could be literally extracting oil from the North Sea. There's loads of oil in the North Sea. Like, we could literally be like, what do you mean the Straits of Hormuz are closed? Don't worry about it, everybody. We got some oil here in the UK, but no, we want king solar farms and bloody wind farms. By the way, I don't think they're a bad thing, by the way. I just think they should be in conjunction. I mean, I'm a firm believer in just building some cool-ass nuclear power plants. But, yeah, that's why. That's why. And bear in mind, this hasn't really been a problem, has it? Like, Iran's got to flow their oil out. You know, this is the big one as well, by the way. If Trump goes on this island thing is like a massive oil thing. It's like a really big oil refinery, I think. I don't know if you can actually see anything on these particular maps. Oh, you can, like, a little bit. Look at that. It's cool. But yeah, this is like this kind of island. Is it, which island is it? It was one of these islands. Is like a big bloody oil depot thing that could end up getting pretty tasty if it all kind of works through, but pretty interesting, if you ask me. Yeah, these like, it's like a marina look. Oh my god. Yeah, it has. It has got enough wind already. Where is the like main oil filling station then? Like down here. I mean, these are just ships, right? Yeah, so they're not even parked up or anything. They're just chilling. Anyway, we could talk for ages on it. We could definitely look in more detail at it as well. That would be absolutely sure. So, what's up with the Scottish underwater power generators? Was allowed for news years back, but the work on the tide. I mean, there's loads of them. They did it on the yeah. I mean, that's true. Fairground as well. I mean, there was a load of things, wasn't there? It was like, I mean, look, like what is going on here? Are these just chilling? These ships just parked up? It's kind of wild, isn't it? I thought they'd be like, they're literally just anchored, I'm guessing, just like waiting to see if they can go through. That's pretty crazy if you ask me. Pretty crazy if you ask me. All the ships lined up sitting target if you ask me. I mean, Wayne, yeah, Fairground just said exactly the same thing. It's just like, you're literally just there. If they want to go and get it, then it's coming. Do you know what I mean? But pretty interesting if you ask me. Even Don Quillo fought a windmill. He knew what was up. There you go. There you go. Anyway, I mean, I don't even know where like all the main oil stuff is. I mean, look at this. What is this? I mean, we're now just like, is it like a salt farm or something? Iran doesn't have offensive. Well, they don't now, do they? I mean, loads of stuff's been wiped out, but I guess maybe they're not filling oil around here, are they? Where do they fill their oil? Is it like over here somewhere? Gouda Bay. I mean, anyway, we could get lost. Just take a look at these. Let's take a quick look at what's going on here on price action. BTC did wick below that line. Look, I mean, you know, I'm not saying that, you know, interesting, by the way. So yeah, BTC did break below, came back though. Look at it holding this line right now, as we said on that M pattern play out. You know, potentially this is going to wick down. Where's the next line coming in? You know, if you were looking to short this market, maybe that's where you start to think, well, maybe I break down below 70,000 sooner rather than later. That would be the full M pattern there playing out. So you'd see something like that when you zoop, zoop. Potentially. I still believe in Green March. Where, just dead quick, let's take a quick look. Oh, we can do it here actually. Where is March? Just out of interest right now. You can see it turning up. So March currently 4.9%. So what's the average? I mean, the average is only like 1.3. So, you know, 4%, that's a pretty decent move in March. I mean, whether it ends up being, you know, any more than that is probably a bigger debate. But yeah, I mean, maybe March turns out to be, I mean, if you go by that standard, you would argue that we're probably not going to see another dump, but I mean, it depends. It depends, doesn't it? Because, you know, we could see a massive wick down. I mean, where's 60,000? Just, you know, what does that price look like from current view? You know, so yeah, I mean, 10%, well, 13.5%, you could wick down. I mean, we could do that in March and then just wick back up, you know, couldn't we? Interesting. Interesting. Right. Anyway, everybody, what time are we on? Oh, I've been live like an hour and a half. Let's go. Let's go, everybody. Right. That does bring us to the end of tonight's live stream, as always. Hopefully you got some value out of that. And I think, you know, fair to say that it is a mixed bag right now. It's definitely one of those that you could argue and say, well, maybe it goes to the upside. Maybe it doesn't go to the upside. It's a very, very much... Oh, my gosh. Oh, my microphone thing's falling out. My phone is so broken. Oh, TikTok, I'm sorry. Why is that not going in there? There we are. Sorry about that, TikTok. So anyway, there's definitely an argument to say that, look, right now, as much as we can be bearish on one side and we can be bullish on the other, really, you just have to wait and see what happens. But I think there can be an argument to say that one feels more likely than the other. My personal opinion, make sure you're set for any eventuality. I still firmly believe that the market is going to push down to the downside, and I think it does give us an opportunity at lower levels. But I, as many other people, could be wrong. All right, everybody, thank you so much for tuning to the live stream. Don't forget, hit the like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're sharing this with a friend. We'll be back tomorrow night, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UK, to take a look at what's going on in the market. Nothing really crazy coming out tomorrow, just FYI, other than PPE, I think it is. We get PCE tomorrow, which will be interesting. Expectations are that it's going to be marginally better, but that could set us up for a very interesting April when these reprint again. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. We'll catch you back here tomorrow for another live stream. Have fun. Take care. I'll see you soon.